Hello everyone, I welcome you all in this data binding part 2 tutorial. So on the previous video I showed you how you can use data binding to access views in your layout file. So this time I will show you how you can use data binding object to show data directly in your layout file. So this time we will no longer using string resources. This time we will using a different kind of directive that will retrieve the data for us from the data class. Let's do the screen. So first of all, what you have to do is you just go to your activity main.xml file and you need a new tag called the data tag between your layout and its constraint layout tag. So we type data and okay, so we have our data tag. So now what we have to do, we need a class. It's a different kind of class called in Kotlin, it's called the data class. So we will first I will later explain you what actually the data class does, but before it, just create a data class. So come over here, and just above the main activity directory, just click here and new, click on Kotlin file. So keep it as file and name it say video game. Press enter, so it will create a new file, Kotlin file for you. So this time we need a data class. It's not a class, it will actually represent our data, so it's a data class. So when you start typing the data, you see the prompted class skeleton in front of us. So we press enter here. So now we have a data class called the video game. So within this primary constructor scope, we are now going to declare two variables. One is the variable var video, let's say make it more simple, game name, and the type is a string, and we just pass a default parameter with this, and second parameter is var game score, and we pass score. Sorry, I forgot to declare the data type. So string, let's say this time, game score. You can take integer as well, it's not a big deal. If you want to use a string, for this tutorial I'm taking just a string, so it's not a big deal whatever you take. So we have what this data class does. It automatically generates some of the functions for these variables like getters and setters. We don't need to manually declare getters and setters for each variable. So it's an advantage of using Kotlin language rather than Java. So no more conflict between Java and Kotlin. Just go there into the main activity file. Then now we need to create an instance of this video game class. So how we can do it? So this time we just declare something private, the access as specifier, then variable var, because we are taking var because we are just going to initialize it now. So var, let's say video game, and the type is also the video game, So now we will call the primary constructor of video game. So is now actually recording two parameters that we have declared there, that is the game name and game score. So let's name the game, let's say call GTA 5. Then GTA 5 does not actually get any score. Okay, let's keep it as an example. Game score, let's say 100. So now we have an instance of our video game class. So now the thing comes in our mind, that how can we pass this object in our layout file to show data. So you need to go there on the activity main.xml file. Now we need to create another tag that is called variable. So the variable name, you can just name it anything, but for now I'm gonna name it as the class. So video game, this is the class, and the type is, here you need to just type the class name. So the class name is video game. So when you type video game, it will just automatically prompt you the class, and you just select it and press enter. Then it will automatically take this is the package name dot the class name. So now we have our class object here in this variable, video game variable. Now we need to now we just do another thing here. We take another text view, and from here just go to the design tab and just directly create it, because it's a poultry layout. So just take it here, put the text size, let's say the text size is 24. Now we constrain this. Okay, so we are done. Now we are going to give it an ID. It's text view 2, and it's text view is just only text view. Okay, so what you need to do, that's we just change the IDs. Let's say called the game name, and we give it the ID of game score. So game name and game score. So now we have two text fields to show our game name and game score. So now we have an error, it's not defined. We got a problem here. It's because the constraint layout has a game name. Okay, so now it's all okay. Now what we have to do is to go to the main activity again. As we have changed the ID of the text view, so now that's why it's actually showing as an error, that it's no longer exist with an ID of text view name. So we don't need this line anymore, because we are directly going to pass our data binding variable in our layout. So we what we have to do, we have a reference to this variable in our binding object. So if you type, let's say binding dot, so if you see here, we have a video game object. That is the variable what we have declared here, this video game variable, actually this one. So now what we have to do, this variable is equal to the video game object, this object. So now this layout variable, this layout video game variable is equal to this video game. So now what actually it will return through the getter and setters, the game name and the game score. This variable will catch up all the properties here. So this time one thing we have to do, that we need to declare the text. So text, this time we will use some, we are not going to use the string resources, we are going to use some kind of directive, that is at the rate of equal to and curly braces. Now within this curly braces we have to just type the variable name, and when you press dot operator dot, then we can access the game name. And for this one, just erase the text here, again at the rate of equal to curly braces, and within this curly braces the variable name and dot, you get the game score. So we have the game score. Now let's see whether it's working fine or not. Just compile it. It will take some time to run the Github. So we have our app up and running. So now you can see that we have the game name GTA 5, and the next text view we have the score as we have typed here. So that's how you can pass the data binding object in your layout file through this variable. Now it's your responsibility to explore how you can work more advanced with this data binding object. Thanks for watching this video. I will catch you up in the next video.